welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we're going to be installing this OEM style dash camera for the Cadillac here. This is the XT6. We've got this aftermarket camera that kind of fits where the mirror is, and it's almost a plug and play system. So stay tuned. This Mangoal kit right here for the dash camera for the Cadillac here, and it's pretty much a plug and play system. This thing all comes to replace the existing shroud right there around your mirror. So this thing just clips into that spot along with the cover here. It comes with an adapter harness right here to use the existing power at the mirror. You also have the option of powering it 24/7 using this OBD plug right here. So that way you could have that thing recording at all times or whenever it feels like a shock or something. In addition, this thing comes with a rear camera. So the rear camera is going to be the biggest pain in the ass to install on this one because you actually have to route that wire all the way back. But other than that, everything else is happening at the front of the vehicle. But pretty much it doesn't really come with any instructions on how to route this thing to the back of the vehicle. You just gotta decide on your own way to get it back there and also to route the cable. So the cable right here connects at the camera. It's a long cable all the way to the front, so you could actually disconnect it instead of having it as one continuous cable. So inside here, the easiest way to work with this is to remove the mirror. So this thing comes with a little Torx bit that lets you unscrew that mirror. Once you do that, you have much more access in here to do everything. So you just gotta do that, unplug the power to the mirror. If there is power, I believe there is for this mirror because it's an auto dim mirror. It's on the inside all the way back there. So you just unplug that and take that out. You do all the work inside there once the mirror is off freely. On the back of the vehicle itself, you're gonna have to decide if you wanna come down the left side or the right side of the vehicle, just to make sure that you get back here, because you're gonna have two choices of going through the loom. I think this side, you can go through here or through here from the headliner up to here. So that way you can route the wire behind this panel here and kind of pull it through here, where you're gonna just double side tape the middle camera right there or somewhere along this defroster area until it can see the back of the vehicle. As I look in here, going either side is probably going to be the same amount of work just because it's pretty much mirror on both sides as far as the vent and everything goes. We're just going to have to basically tuck it into the headliner and just try to run it down the side here. A couple of these panels we might have to unbolt just to kind of get to the pieces, but luckily it comes with a pry tool that we could help pry some of these panels off. So the first thing we're going to do is just go ahead and unbolt the mirror. So you want to go ahead and just find the little Torx bit back here and get the thing up. You can actually remove some of this to help you with the pry tool to kind of get to the access, but you can see the screw, but it might not be a good angle for you to get to it. I guess I can get to the mirror right here. Just unscrew the set screw, just one turn and then just undo it, and then that way, that is probably the easiest way right there. So once we got it off the car, you can see that's the screw that I was trying to get to. It only takes 2 or 3 turns to loosen it, and that's the plug. This is that piece of trim that was giving you the most problem right there. So it actually just pops into the top by those 2 little round spots up top here. And then that cover right here, which was giving me the most problem, it kind of goes in with those 2 little tabs up top here. I didn't want to break them, so that's why I was just trying to take the whole thing off. So as I mentioned earlier, you can use the OBD2 power right here that gives you 24/7 power for it to actually monitor when it's parked. You can use the normal mirror adapter, which is this. The end right here plugs right into the mirror, and the other end plugs to the car, and then you get power for your camera right here. Or you could use the rain sensor power right here, which is this plug. You can use one of the three. You don't need all three. So if you decide to use the mirror plug like I'm going to be using, you could just kind of hold on to these other two for other projects or for something else. But for our case, we're just going to use the regular mirror power right here. All right, first thing we're going to do is go ahead and just use the mirror power. So what you do is just plug it into the vehicle here. We're going to have to end up tucking it so we can not block anything. And then the other side of it plugs to the mirror, and then this one plugs to the camera. So you just gotta basically get it up to here. It comes with tie wraps, so we could use some of the tie wraps to wrap it around some of these mounts right here. All right, so to do this, you could go ahead and just get the mirror back in, and we'll just tighten it down just for now so we don't have to worry about it, because we just pop that other piece back in. One of the things with this mirror is this nut seems to get loose all the time because I gotta retighten this thing every so often. Then we gotta plug the mirror in with the jumper cable. And then we gotta figure out how we're gonna tuck this thing without interfering with everything, and then get the power. So this thing right now, in here you have your regular power cord. You do have this optional GPS wire, which we're not going to use. I'm going to go ahead and just tuck it into here. And then the main rear camera right here, I'm going to have to leave this out because this is going to have to connect to the cable once I run that thing. Before you even put it up, you can go ahead and do the testing with plugging the power in and everything, and just turning the car on just to make sure we are able to connect to this thing. Go ahead and download the app to verify all that stuff and see how it all works before we bolt it all up and kind of finalize the install. All right, when I turned it on, I see the power blinking right here, and it actually says start recording. So once we download the app and we want to add the camera, this is the camera code, and the password is 1234567 Once we plug into that, you should be able to connect to it via the app and do all the features and settings for it via the app. The app also has installation instructions if you need more detailed instructions on how to install it on your vehicle. I went through all the various settings in the app and was able to set the different collision settings, the loop recording, and all that. This camera. So now I'll just go ahead and start putting this thing back together and running that wire to the back so we can do the rear camera. All right, next thing I need to do is run this wire for the rear camera. I'll go ahead and try to go across the headliner, across all the way on the driver's side and all the way back. We'll go ahead and time lapse through this and see if I run into any hiccups trying to do this. All right, we were able to get everything through there. This was a pretty easy vehicle to actually route that wire through the headliner. What I did was just basically get it all up and under that rubber, and then you just push it with a little pry tool right into the headliner, and it's pretty simple and easy. Around the pillars here, just kind of tuck it back right here on the corner, get the cable right in through there, and then just route it straight across to the other headliner until you get to that back part. You just run it over straight through the ceiling and headliner. Overall, everything was pretty easy as far as routing it versus other cars like the Lexus vehicles I'm used to usually working on. So the next thing I need to do is try to get it through this rubber grommet, through this thing right here into this spot, and then pop this panel back here off. Once you pop that panel off, you could try to route that wire, fish it through here, and then get it out of this spot right here or one of these middle spots where the camera is going to be. All right, so back here, the easiest way is to kind of pull this headliner down. There's a little clip right there that kind of pops out right there. You can see that clip. And then right here, it gives you access to put the pry tool right onto these two clips right here. And then it pops the whole thing up. So then once you get up to there, you can see you get access to the loom right here and to fish that wire through the loom all the way to the top. So that's exactly what we needed right here for access. All right, to make fishing that wire a little bit easier, I popped the top here too. This one was a little bit harder because I had to do it from the outside here using a flathead screwdriver, but you can see on the rubber, there's these two little square indentations that indicates where these little clips are. I actually broke one of these right here, but luckily there's a second one that's gonna hold it in, so that shouldn't be a big issue there. Here's that little piece that popped off. I just got a little bit too impatient with it and popped it off. But once you have both sides loose, it's easy to fish this thing through and just pull that wire through for the camera, and pretty much we're done here. You want to go ahead and tuck any extra underneath here, and then that way you don't need that slack. Just leave it under the headliner right here. Once we get everything fished through, go ahead and connect this thing up. You want to, before we stick it to the window, you want to test it to make sure the direction and everything is correct. You don't want to stick it and have it upside down on the image, but we'll go ahead and take care of that. This thing does have like 12 inches of slack on it, so we can tuck a lot of this back into here that we don't need. All right, we got everything back. I have not stuck it on yet just because I want to make sure it's the right direction and right orientation before I stick the 3M tape. Pretty much put all the rubber and everything back, pop this thing back. That little broken clip is fine because once we push back in, all three of those kind of hold that thing nice and tight still. Bottom is snapped in, so we're good. As far as the rest of the headliner, if your hands are dirty or you got any of that dirty, go ahead and clean it off with a little bit of super clean on a rag, and it should take most of that dirt off. But pretty much we're done here. I'm gonna go ahead and test it out, make sure everything's good before I put this thing back together and tape it. Right now I'm just in test mode, so I haven't tucked this thing back yet, but we'll go ahead and tuck that back. All right, I turned it on, made sure I was in the back here with the lid closed. So here's my orientation right here. I have to go this way with the wire kind of coming around that way. You could tell having that arrow right there facing upward tells you which direction you need to mount it, but I verified it with the app and everything that the image is straight. So now I'm gonna clean this with some alcohol and stick it right there in the center. I went ahead and centered it as far as the camera goes right there, and then just stuck it right there on that second, right between the lines right there, so the defrost lines don't kill the adhesive for any reason. So pretty much get that in there, make sure your wires got enough slack right there, and we should be good back here. All right, so I verified that everything's good on the back. The video image is good. Up front here, I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this thing back and finish the install up here. All right, we got everything tucked back in there. As you can see, we put the rear camera wires off to the side here. I got the plug inside this spot because up in the headliner it was a little bit too tight to get it under there, but we were able to pull the wire back into here and just tuck it off to the side, kind of give it some room. This thing right here, this little unit gets pretty hot. I think this is for, I don't know, some kind of front collision system or whatnot, but it's there. So once you get everything kind of tucked into the side, go ahead and just get this thing lined up, tucked into there, and then snap it back in. and pretty much finish our install in here and make sure everything's nice and clean. Overall, this thing fits OEM. If you looked at this, you would never notice that it was an aftermarket unit as far as the camera and the look of it goes. Guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. I'm putting that dash cam and the rear cam on this Cadillac XT6. As you can see, that Mangoal kit came in clutch as far as OEM fitment and install. Pretty much plug and play install. You don't need any tools other than the ones that it comes with, those little clip poppers or that clip trim tool, and that's about it. It even comes with that little Allen key or that hex key to tighten the mirror and take off the mirror. Anyways, if you actually need the same kit, check out the links down in the description. I have the links to the Amazon store where I got this. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to your channel, go ahead and subscribe to your channel. Turn on bell notifications, get notified every time I upload a video. For all these different projects, if I can do it, you guys can do it. I want to thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you guys next time.